Where in the world are you watching from? Drop your country in the comments. Before we dive into this heartwarming story, hit subscribe so you'll never miss the most courageous dog tales we share every day. Have you ever felt a shiver down your spine? A whisper of warning that defied logic, only to ignore it? What if that whisper came from the most unexpected place, saving lives from a darkness you never knew existed? The morning sun streamed through the large windows of Ms. Davies' kindergarten classroom in Oakland, California. Balloons in every color of the rainbow bounced gently. Streamers cascaded from the ceiling, and the air hummed with the joyful cacophony of children's laughter. At the center of it all, a magnificent brightly frosted cake, adorned with edible dinosaurs, awaited young Milo Johnson. It was a tableau of pure, innocent happiness, a precious moment suspended in time. Officer Jasmine Cole, a veteran canine handler, stood quietly by the door, her gaze sweeping the room with a practiced ease. Beside her, Buddy, her loyal 6-year-old Labrador, rested patiently. Buddy wasn't just any canine, he was a rescue, found as a nervous, skinny pup cowering under a bridge in San Francisco. A behavioral specialist had even deemed him unsuitable for police work due to his initial shyness, but Jasmine had seen something else in his deep, soulful eyes. An almost psychic sensitivity to distress. A quiet watchfulness that no training manual could teach. She knew deep in her gut that this flaw was in fact his greatest strength. He was usually the calmest dog in the department, a gentle giant whose mere presence could soothe a tense situation. But today, as Miss Davies began to light the candles on Milo's cake, an ominous, guttural growl rumbled deep in Buddy's chest. It wasn't a playful bark, but a sound born of primal warning, a low vibration that seemed to shake the very floor beneath Jasmine's feet. Her heart gave a sudden lurch. She knew that sound. Then, with a sudden, uncharacteristic snarl that ripped through the joyful atmosphere, Buddy launched himself. He wasn't barking, he was warning. He tore at the blue and green frosting, a frantic blur of fur and teeth, oblivious to the startled screams that erupted from the children. The pure, unbridled aggression was shocking, completely unlike the gentle, disciplined Buddy everyone knew. Parents gasped, drawing their children close. Mrs. Davies, her face pale, lunged forward to pull him back. "Buddy, no!" she pleaded, her voice trembling. Jasmine moved instantly, grabbing Buddy's harness, her own mind racing. "What is it, boy? What do you see?" She knew this wasn't mere mischief. Buddy's desperate urgency, the wildness in his eyes, screamed of hidden danger. She locked eyes with him. His gaze was fixed, not on the children, but on the cake. "I think we need to check this out," she said, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. The room fell silent. Panic began to ripple through the classroom. Milo, the birthday boy, had backed away from the table, his eyes wide, not scared of Buddy, but something else entirely. It was a look Jasmine recognized, the haunted, too-knowing gaze of a child who had seen too much. "He's seen this before," a cold thought whispered in Jasmine's mind. She gently guided the children towards the reading corner. The bomb squad arrived within minutes, their faces grim, their equipment casting long, unsettling shadows. When they finally x-rayed the cake, the truth emerged, stark and terrifying. Nested in the base, wrapped meticulously in plastic, was a small, fully loaded handgun. A collective gasp, then a chilling silence, filled the room. This wasn't merely a threat, it was a calculated act of terror, specifically designed to bypass security and deliver violence discreetly. Milo, his small body trembling, looked at Buddy, then at Jasmine. He clenched his teddy bear tighter, his knuckles white. "My uncle said not to eat it," he whispered, his voice barely audible, choked with unshed tears. "He said just pretend it was from him." A fresh wave of tears spilled down his cheeks. Then, the chilling follow-up. "He told me if I said anything he'd make Mom disappear again." Again! Jasmine's heart sank, a cold knot forming in her stomach. Milo's silence wasn't defiance. It was a child's desperate act of survival, a heavy weight carried by someone so small. This single, terrifying event wasn't just about a weapon. It was the first crack in a vast, insidious web of control. Milo's whispered words, "He'd make Mom disappear again," confirmed Jasmine's worst fears. His mother, Layla Johnson, had been missing for almost a year, her disappearance casually dismissed as voluntary by authorities. Now it reeked of something far more sinister. Layla, they discovered, was a key witness against a dangerous figure known as Thomas the Serpent Riley, a convicted felon tied to human trafficking and obstruction of justice. The gun in the cake wasn't a random act. It was a chilling message, a twisted move designed to lure Layla out, or, if she remained hidden, to silence Milo himself. Jasmine knelt beside Milo, her voice soft, gentle, almost a caress. Did he say why? Milo just shook his head, burying his face in Buddy's fur. Child Services tried gentle questions, but Milo clammed up, his eyes darting, his small body tense, a miniature fortress of fear. But then, Buddy, sensing the boy's terror, gently laid his head in Milo's lap. He didn't bark, didn't nudge, just offered his quiet presence. It was enough. A whisper, barely audible, escaped Milo. I knew he'd save me. I just didn't know if he'd be in time. My mom told me to trust good dogs. She said, if anything ever happened, find one. They don't lie. Jasmine felt a lump form in her throat. This wasn't just a child confiding. It was a pure, unburdened trust, a testament to the unique connection only an animal can forge. Humans, burdened by prejudice and logic, often miss what's hidden in plain sight, but animals, with their unfiltered instincts, sometimes see the clearest truth. Armed with Milo's fragile lead, the federal team moved with silent precision. They tracked Layla to a remote cabin near Big Sur, California, tucked deep within a dense forest where she had been living under an alias, completely cut off from the outside world. The moment she saw Jasmine and Buddy, tears streamed down her face, tears of relief, fear, and profound gratitude. Is he okay? She choked out, her voice raw with emotion, her gaze fixed on Jasmine before shifting to Buddy. I owe you more than I can say, she whispered, gently patting his head. The reunion between mother and son was silent, profound, a desperate embrace that spoke volumes of lost time and unwavering hope. Buddy stood by, a silent sentinel, his tail giving a soft thump against the floor, observing the scene he had helped create. The discovery of Layla was merely the first thread in a much larger, darker tapestry. The serpent's network was far more expansive and insidious than they'd imagined. Human trafficking, drug smuggling, identity theft, and a ruthless disposition towards anyone who dared to betray them. This wasn't an amateur operation, it was a well-oiled machine of misery, designed to exploit the most vulnerable in society. They weaponized fear, using innocent lives as pawns in their cruel games. The true horror wasn't just the gun in the cake, it was the chilling realization of how deeply entrenched this evil was, quietly preying on the unseen and unheard. The trial of Thomas Riley was set to be a landmark case, a chance to dismantle a criminal empire. Layla, despite the trauma, was determined to testify. She had spent weeks working with prosecutors, her voice shaky but firm, rehearsing the horrors she'd witnessed. Jasmine had sat in on some of those sessions, Buddy always nearby, a quiet anchor for Layla's frayed nerves. The morning of her testimony, the air in the courthouse felt thick with an almost unbearable tension. Every lawyer, every court officer, moved with a hushed reverence, aware of the gravity of the moment. Layla sat on the witness stand, her hands trembling slightly as she gripped the sides of the wooden chair. I just want this to be over, she'd told Jasmine earlier. I want to be able to walk down a sidewalk and not look over my shoulder. Jasmine had nodded. Then let's get you there. Suddenly, Buddy, who had been lying quietly beside Jasmine's feet in the waiting room outside courtroom 2B, stiffened. His ears snapped forward, body rigid, and a low, chilling growl rippled from his chest. Not a bark of panic, but a deep, resonant warning that vibrated through the marble halls. Jasmine's hand instinctively went to her sidearm. Her eyes scanned the corridor. That sound she knew too well. Something, or someone, was off. Two men, dressed deceptively like delivery drivers, rounded the corner, one with a clipboard, the other wheeling a covered cart that looked like it carried food trays. Security at the front desk had barely blinked, as courthouses ordered in lunch for jurors every day. But Buddy had known. Before Jasmine could react fully, Buddy launched himself, a blur of fur and muscle, leash tightening as he walked him toward the side hallway. When the two men turned the corner, they froze, and so did she. Where's this going? Jasmine asked, her voice flat but steady. One man smiled, a little too quickly. Judge's Chambers lunch drop. Funny, Jasmine said, her eyes narrowing. Judge Thompson's not in today. Before the second man could bolt, Buddy lunged with terrifying precision. He clamped onto the man's arm, dragging him down hard as the other tried to run. Freeze! Police! Jasmine shouted, drawing her weapon and ordering him to the floor. It was over in seconds, both men in cuffs. The cart was searched. No food trays, just camera equipment and a black duffel bag that contained handcuffs, zip ties, and a stolen court security badge. These weren't just abductors. They were assassins, aiming to silence Layla permanently. The glint of steel, the cold calculation in their eyes, confirmed it. They thought they were safe in the courthouse, but the enemy was closer and far more lethal. This wasn't random, it was orchestrated, precise. Jasmine stood over the cuffed men, her mind reeling. This wasn't just an attack, it was a chillingly informed strike. Someone had known Layla's schedule, her courtroom, even the delivery protocols. Her veteran instincts screamed, "Leak!" The unease gnawed at her, a silent alarm bell ringing. Justice for Thomas Riley felt hollow if his shadow still stretched so long. The investigation led them to a shocking discovery. Dave Miller, a seemingly clean-cut, agreeable intelligence officer they had trusted. He had that clean-cut, just out-of-the-academy look, always courteous, always agreeable. Too agreeable. Miller was the mole. He wasn't a villain by choice, but by coercion. His sister, battling a rare form of cancer, needed a life-saving procedure. The network had known that, covered her massive medical bills, then came knocking, not for money, but for lives. This wasn't a simple case of corruption. It was a tragedy born of desperation. A man trapped by circumstance. "I didn't have a choice," he mumbled when confronted by Jasmine and Buddy, in an old hunting cabin 2 counties over. "You had a badge," Jasmine stated, her voice sharp, unforgiving. "That's the only choice that mattered." It's a profound, often heartbreaking truth that betrayal frequently comes from within, from someone who knew just enough about your protocols, your safe houses and your deepest fears, to look you in the eye while plotting behind your back. Months later, the quiet hum of the patrol car became a familiar lullaby to Buddy. Jasmine had moved on to other cases, the constant churn of police work. But some cases, like Milo's, lingered. One crisp morning, a routine welfare check pulled Jasmine and Buddy into another unfolding tragedy. The address: a dilapidated trailer park in rural Louisiana. Lot 18. "Possible minor at risk," the dispatcher's voice crackled. It sounded routine, but halfway there Buddy stood up in the passenger seat, ears perked, eyes focused. "You sense something?" Jasmine asked. Buddy didn't bark, just stared ahead. Silent. That was enough. Jasmine flipped on her lights and accelerated. The trailer was a ghost of a home, peeling paint, a screen door hanging by a thread. Garbage bags piled beside the porch. A faded pink tricycle lay on its side, half swallowed by weeds. The CPS worker, a mid-30s woman named Jen, met them. "Got a tip from an anonymous source," she said, clipboard clutched tightly to her chest. "Child living here without a guardian. Knocked twice, no answer." "Let's be careful," Jasmine murmured. She motioned Buddy forward. He didn't bark, didn't growl. Instead, he became a statue, nose twitching, then slowly, deliberately, he walked up the porch steps and sat. His ears perked, listening to a silence only he could hear. It was his signature move, his unwavering intuition, an unspoken command to listen. Jasmine knocked firmly. "This is Officer Cole with local police. We're here to check on your safety. If anyone's inside, please come to the door." Nothing. She tried again. Still silence. Then, a whisper, barely audible from behind the door. "Are you the one with the dog?" Jasmine crouched low. "Yes, his name's Buddy, he's safe, so am I. Are you okay?" A pause, then the door unlocked. Slowly, it creaked open. And standing there was a girl, maybe 8 or 9, hair-tangled, oversized hoodie, bruises on her knees. But her eyes were sharp, alert, like someone who'd learned a long time ago that most adults couldn't be trusted. Buddy stepped forward, gently nudging her hand with his nose. She didn't flinch. She knelt and hugged him like she'd known him her whole life. Her name was Maya Rodriguez. No one knew she existed, no school records, no birth certificate, just an old missing child flyer from 3 states over. Maya was another whisper in the wind, another child swallowed by a system that had failed to see her. The chilling pattern was repeating. Different child. Same agonizing silence, same pervasive fear, same insidious network. Later that evening, at the station, Jasmine sat beside Maya on a bench. "Want something to eat?" she asked. Maya shook her head. Jasmine pulled a granola bar from her pocket. "Anyway, you don't have to say anything," she said gently. "But I want you to know, this place, this station, you're safe here. No one's going to hurt you." Maya finally looked up. "They said that before." "I know," Jasmine said quietly. "They said it to Milo, too." Maya blinked. "Who's that?" "Someone like you. Someone who knew how to keep quiet because no one listened, until a dog did." Maya slowly reached for the granola bar. She didn't smile, but she didn't look away either. By midnight, Jasmine's relentless phone calls and cross-referencing had confirmed the match. Maya Ray Winters, missing since age 7, last seen in Baton Rouge. Case classified as inactive, but here she was, alive, breathing, clutching Buddy like her life depended on it. The next morning, Maya spoke, not to the therapist, not to the social worker, but to Buddy. Jasmine watched through the observation window as Maya whispered into Buddy's ear, as if he could carry her words somewhere safe. Later, Maya looked up at Jasmine. "Can I tell you a secret?" "Of course." "My mom's still alive." Jasmine blinked. "What?" "She's not dead. They told me she was, but I heard one of them on the phone said she was in hiding." "Do you know her name?" Maya nodded. "Sophia. Sophia Rodriguez." The records they uncovered were chilling. Sophia Rodriguez, deemed unfit, her parental rights fraudulently terminated 3 years prior. She was labeled unstable and unfit after reporting her daughter's abduction by someone within the child welfare system itself. She was dismissed, labeled delusional. The same network, systematically tearing families apart, was weaponizing the very institutions meant to protect them. Imagine trusting the system designed to protect you, only for it to be wielded against you. It's a betrayal that carves a wound far deeper than any physical injury. This wasn't just about isolated bad actors. It was about the insidious cracks in the foundation, the blind spots we often refuse to acknowledge, allowing evil to flourish. When Sophia walked into the quiet shelter, Maya froze, staring as if seeing a ghost. Then, slowly, she rose and ran. No words, no grand gestures, just a hug that didn't let go, silent and profound. Buddy lay at their feet, a silent sentinel, his chest rising and falling, watching the doorway, still ready. He had brought them home, a testament to the profound power of empathy and the unwavering hope that even in the deepest despair, connection can be found. The verdicts were swift, the sentences harsh. Thomas Riley, David Miller, and key members of their network were convicted on multiple counts, dismantling a vast and sinister operation. The Serpent's network, once so pervasive, was now crumbling. But justice, Jasmine knew, rarely eradicates the scars. It merely offers a path to healing. Milo and Layla, and now Maya and Sophia, entered full federal protection, completely off the grid. Layla declined the final meeting. "It's better if we disappear completely," she told the agent. "Tell Jasmine and Buddy thank you for everything, but I want Milo to grow up without looking over his shoulder." It was a bittersweet freedom, a life lived in shadows for the sake of light. Sometimes, freedom means letting go of the familiar, even loved ones, for a deeper peace. It's the ultimate act of protection, severing ties to build a new, safer future. Years passed. Buddy, now a seasoned canine, still worked tirelessly alongside Officer Cole. He remained the anchor, the silent guardian. On Jesamine's desk, a faded drawing by Milo, a stick figure holding Buddy's leash, was taped next to a small, folded note from Maya. "He didn't just save us. He reminded us we were never forgotten." Not every hero wears a badge, and not every voice speaks in words. Sometimes the most profound truths come from those who cannot speak, but whose actions resonate louder than any speech. Buddy didn't just stop a gun in a cake. He stopped a system from swallowing 2 children whole. He did it the only way he knew how, by never ignoring what others dismissed. One crisp morning, Jasmine and Buddy responded to another routine call, a suspicious person at a local school. As they walked the halls, a whisper rippled through the children. "That's the dog who saves people." Buddy's tail gave a gentle thump against Jasmine's leg. He was just doing his job, listening to the unseen, sensing the unspoken. He was a silent legend, a testament to the power of loyalty and the profound impact one quiet heart can have. So, next time you feel a gut instinct, a flicker of warning, or hear a quiet voice begging to be heard, remember Buddy. Remember that the strongest voices in a room often come from those who can't speak, and that the greatest victories are often won in the quietest moments, by the most loyal of hearts. The story of Buddy, the yellow Labrador canine, is far more than just a thrilling narrative of crime and capture. It's a profound testament to the power of intuition, the unspoken bonds we share, and the quiet courage found in unexpected places. At its heart, the narrative celebrates the extraordinary bravery of a single animal whose seemingly flawed sensitivity became its greatest strength. Buddy's initial aggressive reaction to a birthday cake, an act so out of character, serves as the ultimate unspoken warning, a core theme brilliantly woven throughout the story. It compels us to consider how often we, as humans, dismiss vital instincts or subtle cues that don't fit our logical framework, only for them to hold the deepest truths. Buddy's heroism extends beyond physical protection. He becomes a silent confidant for traumatized children like Milo and Maya, extracting crucial information that human investigators, despite their best efforts, could not. This highlights the unique, almost therapeutic role animals can play in healing and communication, especially with vulnerable individuals who have experienced deep betrayal. His unwavering loyalty and intuitive understanding offer a safe harbor in a world that has otherwise proven cruel and untrustworthy. The story also bravely shines a light on the insidious nature of human trafficking and the horrifying reality of corruption from within trusted systems. It's a stark reminder that true evil often operates in the shadows, weaponizing trust and exploiting the most vulnerable. Buddy therefore symbolizes not just canine bravery, but a beacon of hope against such darkness. His actions consistently serve as a catalyst for justice, dismantling a widespread criminal network and bringing solace to shattered families. In a world that often overlooks the quiet whispers of danger, Buddy's loud instinctual warnings remind us that heroism isn't always uniformed or articulate, but profoundly felt and undeniably life-saving. If Buddy's story resonated with you, if you believe in the power of intuition and the quiet strength of those who protect the vulnerable, hit that like button. Share this video with someone who needs to hear a story of hope, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more true stories of courage, resilience, and the extraordinary bonds that shape our lives. What's a time your gut instinct saved you? Tell us in the comments below.